Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. It's Sunday evening and today I promised myself I was going to have a proper day off, because if you saw my last video, it was nearly a week ago, but I think I've needed a bit of time this week to just chill out a little bit. It's been really frantic for me with work and all that kind of stuff. Just life has been a bit wild recently. So that last video where we were looking around the plot, and I just got a bit despondent because, you know, nothing's been growing, and I am so glad I made that video because there were so many reassuring comments, so many other people who found that they were just in exactly the same boat, feeling exactly the same this year. And I think what it's really come down to, and I'm honestly so relieved because I've been fretting about compost and all sorts of, you know, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And the fact that so many other people had exactly the same issues is just 90% of it, I think, is the weather. Really, really low light conditions. We've had so much rain, and I think that is why everything is just so slow. But I wanted to come up today because I've had a super relaxed day. I basically spent the day in my pajamas and the sun has just started peeking out. It's about 6:30 in the evening, and I thought, you know, let's just come out and have a little look around because I fancied it. And although it's been, you know, a week without a video, I have been up here quite a lot actually last week doing various bits and bobs. This very exciting, I've set out some of the new auto pot space. So what I need to do is basically push those ones back further towards the edge of the polytunnel there to give everything a bit more space. I'm going to have 6 in total, and all of these inside, they've got their little pot dividers, so I can turn those 12-litre pots into a 3-litre pot for sort of the intermediate stage, you know, before you pot them on into their final pot. A lot of things still are growing quite slowly, but we'll have a look in the greenhouse where there's a little bit of better news. I think this has been really disappointing. This second lot of guttering peas that I did, when I set up the first guttering peas, I said it can be really tricky getting the moisture level right, and, you know, whether or not you have drainage in there. And I think I got these ones too wet, and I think most of the peas actually rotted, which was a real shame. I sort of went around digging in there a little bit a few days ago, and yeah, there were quite a few that had just rotten away. These are exactly the same alderman variety that I've got outside that got off to a fantastic germination. So that's a bit of a shame. And this is getting a little bit tetchy, frustrating. I've re-sowed it, but I'm hoping they start to pop very soon so I can get them out, because I want to use this floating shelf again. But at the same time, I've got all the, well, actually, yes, I was going to say I want to use this floating shelf because I've got loads of things to sow. And I'm starting to run out of room, but actually underneath is where I'm going to have the chilies potted up very, very soon, probably this week. So it might actually be time to hang up the old floating shelf, if you'll excuse the pun. What has been fantastic is everything growing in the ground, and I've been taking lots of harvests. Radish, we took the first little harvest of lettuce and rocket the other day, which is really, really nice. And the other thing over here, we've got some of the leeks once again. I mean, they've started moving a little bit, and we've got some nice looking salad trays down here. You can see lots of empty cells where I've been planting bits and bobs out. These are spring onions. They really need to go out actually, because they're getting too long in the tooth now. One of the most common kind of suggestions I had in the comments last week was to, you know, because I had lots of slow growth and I was talking about compost and peat-free compost, people were saying, you know, start your liquid feed, JB, give them a little bit of nutrients, liquid nutrients, and I've been doing it. I've been doing that already. So I started the seaweed feed much earlier than I normally would, because I was a little bit concerned about the slow growth and the fact that the plants haven't really responded to the seaweed feed in the way that they normally would, which normally gives them a bit of a kick up the butt, you know, and they go, wow, let's go, and they explode into green. I think that's another sign that it's all about the weather. Out here, these pots are looking really nice. The potatoes have gone boom. They have really exploded. It's just nice to see something growing, anything growing. These 2 tubs of garlic, the healthy ones as well, they're looking pretty okay. They've actually started growing and doing something. This is one of those, oh, it's gone to seed. How has this gone to seed? This is one of those brassicas, because I got the tray that fell over and I've just dumped the compost in these. There's a few, look, a few little brassicas in there. Oh, there's a grass as well, let's get you. I did scatter carrots on here, but to no avail. There is some good carrot news, so I just love this, look at this. proper strong growth, something growing. And I think this looks really nice, having all these tubs along the outside of the tunnel. It's kind of deterred the foxes as well, because they were really starting to get a bit adventurous. You can see there's a hole there and a hole there, and they were getting a little bit close to kind of going under, which I do not want. And speaking of foxes as well, oh look, there he goes. Where is he? I can't see him on camera. Can you see him? I hope you can see him. Yes, I've got him. I don't think I could give up my day job and become a wildlife photographer with camera work like that. But yes, I was going to talk about not allotment foxes, but I just wanted to show you this video because we've got a little family of foxes that I saw in next door's garden yesterday, and this just heart-melting footage. I've never seen anything as cute as this. I think I've probably got it over here, but just, I thought everyone would appreciate that. Oh, really, really cute. Now over here we have some more good news actually. On the onion and carrot bed, foot fox here. Oh, look at these mushrooms. These have ballooned. I was actually up here for a good few hours yesterday and I gave everything a little trim. It's amazing how quickly it starts growing again. But look at this. That's definitely carrot germination. Carrot germination, it's happening. The onions and everything still looking, well, actually probably worse than when they first went in the ground. But can you actually see any of it? Maybe I should just lift this up, that would be good. Yes, you can see, not great. Quite a few weeds starting to come up. But we do have carrot germination, which is fantastic. This bed's still not got anything in it apart from some volunteer potatoes and some onions that I'm leaving to go to seed. But this is very good news again. So this, these peas, they have started rocketing away. Literally just yesterday, they were much smaller than this. So just in today and yesterday, they've really started growing. And that's kind of just what I'm starting to notice, to be honest. It was very soon around, I can't remember exactly when it was, but when I did that last video, I was very close to bringing all the peppers out, or maybe I just brought them out. Have you seen the peppers yet? I'm gonna have to check. Let me get my phone and see. Okay, so no, you haven't. Turns out I've just spoiled my own video. Spoiled that surprise for you. But just the day after I recorded that last video, I brought all of the chili peppers up because the forecasts were on the up. We were starting to get warmer nights, most of the lows around 10 to 9 degrees, a few 12 degrees nights. I was just checking on the thermometer in the polytunnel. And so that is really good news. And I was predicting that hopefully things were going to start moving, things were finally going to start growing, and those peas are a great example of something, finally, just something, anything like the potatoes, growing. Hooray! We've got on this one a volunteer chard and the other second row of peas. Now these are much smaller, which is why they've not got a big trellis. And by smaller, I mean the variety. These are, I think, Kelvedon Wonder. So they only get to around 3 or 4 foot high, whereas those other ones, those aldermen, they're going to be big peas. But these two, it's the same thing. They have actually started growing since I put them out, which is fantastic. I think there's a little bit of weevil damage. Something's kind of nibbling their edges. I don't think it's the pigeons because they're a bit more vicious, but you get, when you just got nibbling around the edges, I think that tends to be like a little pea weevil. But you can see as well the stringing method that I'm doing here, just little lines either side, and so the peas can start growing up in the middle of these two wires. That's the kind of idea, and it's just a bit of twine. It's really weird looking around and still seeing 1, 2, 3 beds with absolutely nothing in it. We've got another bed back there that we've seen. We've got the big L bed over there. That I think I'm going to do some squash in. Looking really good, no dig, kind of weed free. Very nice, but yeah, just very weird. There is some stuff over here. We've got some very early flowers on these broad beans. Oh, and of course, yes, I am seeing they are covered in black fly already. Are they? It looks like they've got something on, but I'm not sure actually. I can see ants, which is normally a sign. Oh, can you see in there? There's actually a couple of little weevils. And I was just talking about the pea weevil, and actually, yeah, look at these, the edges of the leaves there. That's probably weevil damage. Quite interesting to see. It's not phenomenal, is it? I just wanted a few broad beans this year, but it's just like I say, it's nice to see something, anything actually growing in one of my veg beds. Next door is not the prettiest sight. Down here we've got a lot of the very early lettuce that went out and didn't survive. It's somehow hanging on for dear life. These ones I planted out yesterday, looking a lot bigger, a lot healthier. Where possible, I do like to let my lettuce get a little bit bigger before I plant it out than you would normally see, because they just get slugged so quickly on my allotment. And what I had in mind that I would be doing this year is getting a lot of the things out around this time of year, and then starting with the horse manure kind of top layer mulch on top of the bed around the things that I've already planted into. But because everything's been so slow growing, I'm a little bit behind in that regard, and this would be really nice to be getting a mulch on. Like, you can just start to see all the weed growth, and getting a nice mulch on here a little bit earlier can really help with suppressing a lot of this growth. But I have as well done a few sort of direct sowings now. You can just about see the lines of perlite in there, and I've done some sort of radish and lettuce, just a few little quick cropping things. This is going to be a bit of a salad bed this year. But I'm hoping, now that things are starting to warm up, starting to move, that we can start to get this and this one planted up, as well as everything else around the allotment. Now let's take a little look in the greenhouse, where, like I've already showed you, the peppers have been evicted from the nice cozy room at home, and they've now come out into the big bad world of outdoor living. It's not quite outdoor living. I mean, they're still in a relatively sheltered greenhouse. It's not particularly warm in here today, but overnight it does just help to keep off a little bit of the temperature, I think. The chilies are mostly the same as in the last grow update, to be honest. Pot bound. If there was one kind of little descriptor for these, it would be pot bound. You can see these are the ones here that are brought up earlier. These came out a good kind of 3, maybe 4 weeks earlier than the rest. And I mean, that's a really bad example. This is one that I showed off in the chili grow update. This is one that got really bad drought damage, and actually it's been quite set back. It has not recovered as well as I was hoping or expecting. But here's one you can see that came out a lot later and got a much better start indoors and wasn't immediately kind of stalled by coming out into the greenhouse too early. So it's a little bit of a shame with the chili peppers, but you know, I was just seeing actually that Chili Chump did a little grow update in his live stream today, and his chili peppers are really far behind where they would normally be for the same reason. Just it's been a bit too cold in his greenhouses, so a lot of them have stalled, and actually a lot of his are smaller than these, and that's always something to make you feel like you've done something right. There are, as ever, silver linings, and the fact that they've come out now, and probably they're going to stall a little bit as they adjust to this greenhouse temperature, even if, well, we've got sort of the nights have been relatively warm, so 9 or 10 degrees, which is good for a chili pepper, but because it's not been getting up to temperature in the day, we've had a lot of highs of kind of 13, 14, and if there's a little bit of the sun in the greenhouse, it might be hitting 20 if we're lucky. That's not ideal. What you really want is a combination of, and this is what Chili Chump was saying earlier, you want a combination of hot days as well as those nights of around 10 degrees, because in the greenhouse there's going to be that residual heat, the soil will have warmed up and all that kind of stuff. But the point I was trying to make, the silver lining is, because these have kind of stalled a little bit, I don't need to rush to pot them on, although I do want to do it as soon as possible, and hopefully this week, but I want to do another guide video, so it's a little bit time consuming, you know. It's not just chili peppers in the greenhouse though, there's all sorts going on down here. I have officially started my compost trials, which is fantastic news. Something I've been putting off for a long time because it's a heck of a lot of effort, to be honest. But down here, there are 4 compost trial trays, and you will see those kind of results in due course. I wanted to do it as one complete video where you see first impressions of the compost and then a few kind of grow updates, all consolidated, because no one wants just a video that doesn't have results at the end of it as well. One thing I did do, all of my brassicas have come down here, and I was a little bit worried because these started bolting in the polytunnel. You can see a few have bolted at the back there, and they're looking maybe even slightly leggy on the bottom now. I've kept them on the bottom just to keep the temperature down and try and prevent that bolting. I think what I'm going to do, now it's warming up a little bit at night, might just actually pot on a lot of those ones into those individual 3-inch pots, and then I want to stick them outside covered and protected from the butterflies, but they just have not been moving much at all. The beetroot is finally growing in there, as well as the tray at the back. I mean, it's still pretty slow. I had lots of comments about basil being exceptionally slow as well. This was a tray, it was meant to be a tray of herbs, but only the basil and the dill there has really germinated. Once again, I mean, the growth is still slow. This is a tray of salad that I sowed goodness knows how long ago. These are the 2 flower trays now, and these have been potted up into 2 different composts. The one on the left is a new compost that I'm trying, the one on the right is Silver Grow. So it'll be interesting to observe if there's any differences there, but we've got all sorts of little flowers. The Black Knight Scabious is looking really good, actually. This is fantastic to see. Some really nice cucumber germination on there. We've got the Crystal Lemon and the Honey Plus. The Merlin cucumber has gone as well. The Market More has not gone, actually, so I might have to get some new seed for that, and the All Green Bush courgette hasn't popped either. Still some mixed germination on that flower tray there, but the Campion at the back looking really good. And then up here, we've got another quite exciting tray. What are these varieties? I can't actually see, can you see? Oh, exciting. I had to get here really close to see that. Is a little tomato loop there. And that's the Green Doctor, one of the tomatoes that Jessie sent me. This is I can't remember what it is. I had loads of out of date seeds and I thought I'll chuck a load in here and none will germinate. And I've probably made a note somewhere. But elsewhere, we've got a few tomatoes starting to pop up. This is the Sort Relays, I think that's how it's pronounced. And then this row is the Goat Bag, absolutely incredible name. And then we've got a few courgettes at the back. Yes, this is good. The Bianca di Trieste or something like that. And the one at the back there, the Butter Stick from last year, some old seed. Yes, it's not all doom and gloom for once. There's actually things growing and germinating quite quickly after sowing them. It's nice not to have to wait weeks and weeks. And what else is nice is the second greenhouse now is actually in use. This felt like a bit of a lemon, you know, just kind of sat here not doing much for most of the season, but I knew it would, but it has become a very, very useful overflow greenhouse. I've realised there's something I forgot to show you in that other greenhouse actually, but look at this. I mean, they're not looking strong by any means. Don't get me wrong, these are not tomatoes to write home about, but they are moving, they're finally growing, they're actually doing something. They sat here for so long, barely even wanting to grow true leaves. And in fact, these have started growing. You know, I can see the difference from now to just yesterday, and today has been a pretty garbage day. So really, really glad. And in fact, I've started potting a few on. I've got a little tray here with some sweet potato slips that arrived. This is actually the first time I've ever ordered a live plant via post. They're looking a little bit sad, but like that one at the back there, on the back left, not amazing. I got them repotted as soon as they arrived, same day, just into little 3-inch pots. So hopefully they're just gonna kind of need a little bit of time to recover and set root. But yes, down here, you can see I've started potting on. There's a couple of, I'm doing lots more compost trials with the tomatoes specifically. Up here, we've got a tray. And I know they're still very, very small for potting on, but I was kind of wondering if maybe they needed potting on to start getting moving. So I started potting on some of the stronger looking ones, but when I came to do a few of the smaller ones, it was very apparent that actually they still just needed a lot more time in those little cells. A lot of their roots haven't even filled those tiny little seed cells yet. I'm just putting it down to temperature. I don't think it's a compost issue because now it's warming up. They are moving. The relief. The relief. You know, I was starting to get just a little, I've spoken to a few people as well, like this whole season's a write-off, you know. It's very easy to go down a bit of a slippery slope and be like, oh, the whole season is done for, you know. But there's still plenty of time, there's still plenty of time. There's a few other just little bits and bobs, little pots here and there, little cosmos. It's about to flower because it's root bound. Whoops, don't look too close. But I wanted to show you this, the other chili seed tray. Now, I did have this actually down here, and you can see I've got a bit of fleece, and that was more as a shade cloth than anything else, and it was just to stop these from getting the worst of the sun because, as you can see, these ones have been really, really sensitive, and luckily I knew about that because I've been putting them in the back garden just a little bit, and I was seeing like extreme sun damage from being out for just a few hours. This is something I don't see too often, holes in the leaves of the pepper. Might be a little leaf cutter bee or something that's done that. But yeah, some pretty sickly looking plants, and these have they've just got to toughen up. You know, I've been a bit brutal and I've just said, look, I mean, this is the worst I've ever seen. This is my Kangstar Lemon Starburst as well. I'm very precious about this one. But some serious sun scorch and sun damage. But hopefully, any really badly damaged leaves, they'll drop. And the new leaves, the new growth that starts coming through will be proper hardened up. And they will have had that nice kind of protective coating on their leaves. And they haven't grown much, these ones, since bringing them out a week ago. But maybe a little bit of new growth on here, actually. But like I say, all okay, I think. Nothing to be too worried or concerned about. Here are some more of the tartos I just wanted to show you. These are the black strawberry plants. And I don't know if you remember, but these were self-saved seed. I was a little bit worried that I'd done something wrong, or like I hadn't stored them optimally and they weren't really going to pop. So I sowed, I don't know, like we just sowed so many seeds into one little seed cell and they all germinated. But actually, it's been perfect for compost testing. So I've got loads. These are all black strawberry here that I've put. This is into my silver grow mix that I would normally do. And in the other greenhouse, the tray that you saw was all in a different, specially made tomato compost. So it'll be really interesting seeing how they compare. So the message of today's video really is just that things are starting to look up. I'm still quite far away from where I would like to be this year, but if you're a little bit further north than me, hopefully things are about to start looking up for you too very soon. Things are growing. Thank you ever so much for joining me. An extra special thank you to all of my Chilli Pepper Tip patrons: Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, Andrew, Sarah, Angela, Dorcasaur, and Louise. Hopefully I'll see you again next time.